Hello and welcome to episode 90 of Things I've Learned from Barry Harris. And today I thought we would discuss playing, when we're talking about chording, just playing a plain D7. Just a plain D7. Now the only reason why I'm making a video discussing this is because I made the mistake for a long time of thinking every time I came up across a dominant chord, like for instance if we were in the key of G and we played A minor to D7, I would always do something different to the D7 to alter it, to make it sound, you know, altered, obviously, because it's a beautiful sound. All the altered sounds are beautiful, but as Barry people now, we know all of the altered sounds comes from one or more of the other scales of chords. So, but what I was overlooking was just this plain D7. Not altering anything, just playing a plain D7. Now, as Barry people, we know that this is not just a plain D7. You could think of it as coming from the D7 diminished scale, which is just, if you put the 4 notes of D7 and the 4 notes of E diminished, now you have your 8-note scale, which then gives you these diminished every other one. So these are really beautiful. So I'll give you an example. If we were playing A minor 7, which we as Barry people know as C6, so I'm just doing turnarounds in the key of G, and every time I get to the dominant chord, I'm just playing a plain D7. But do you hear how pretty that sounds? Those are really beautiful. Let's see. That time I did the diminished before the D. This is D7 diminished. I played the. But listen to how beautiful just plain D7 is. And what's also nice is if we play it in minor. So let's say if we're going to G minor instead, and we have an A half diminished, which we as Barry people know belong to the C minor 6 diminished. I mean, gorgeous. I mean, listen. And then do this one. And maybe. So again, those are just turnarounds in C minor 6. In G minor. So the first one turns around in G major. The second ones were turnarounds in G minor. But that sound of just the plain D7 is so beautiful, and it was something I was completely overlooking. And I probably played for years and years thinking, well, since I'm trying to play jazz, I have to do something to alter the dominant because that sounds jazzy. But that was completely wrong way of thinking on my part, and I just thought I'd share it with everybody just in case you're making the same mistake that I did for a long period of time. And I think I talked about this channel before, but Thomas Eccles' Labyrinth of Limitations, you know, I think it really changed for me when I heard him and the pretty things he was doing with just a plain dominant. And I realized, why am I not using that plain dominant? It's so beautiful. So I'm just playing drop 2s. But now triads in this scale, which is Barry's a D7 diminished scale, triads are so beautiful also in this. So you got the first triad, which is major. Next one's diminished. Next one is the 3rd, the 5th, and the flat 7th, which is beautiful. The one on the 4th is another diminished. Now you got, which is the 5th, flat 7th, and the tonic, which is beautiful. Another diminished. Now you got the one from the 7th, tonic, 3rd, which is beautiful. Another diminished. Then you back to the beginning, so you got this. Aren't those pretty with triads? So if we said something in, let's say, A minor 7, so we said, and then maybe again. Really pretty. That's just triads. So let's do it from maybe here. Those are just triads. But do you hear how beautiful those are? And then when you start doing things with contrary motion, I mean, listen how pretty that is. That's just contrary motion. Or even in minor, that's pretty too. I mean, this stuff is really beautiful. So as far as, now again, this is, I'm just thinking purely harmonically. Because for me, and I don't know if this is the correct way to think about it, but for me, I think of Barry's scales of chords, his 4 scales of chords, as something harmonically. And then I think of soloing as something slightly different. So I compartmentalize the two. Not that there isn't some overlap between the two, but I really compartmentalize the two. So for instance, if I was going to solo over A minor D7, I would just think D7 stuff, which is all the things that are included in D7. Or if I was thinking A half diminished to D7, I would be thinking F7 stuff to D7. So that's just F7 stuff to D7. But then if I'm thinking about chording, I'm thinking about one or more of his 4 scales of chords. Major 6 diminished, minor 6 diminished, dominant 7 diminished, and dominant 7/5/5 diminished. And the one I'm focused on today playing is just that dominant. So see if that's not helpful, because let me tell you, that has really, really helped me to hear it better. And like I said, I heard Thomas do it on his channel, and it's really funny. We have a tendency to think like, oh, well, this person's playing it on a classical guitar, so therefore it's got to be something classically oriented. And it's really not true, because pretty is pretty, whether it's on an acoustic steel string, whether it's on a classical guitar played with fingers, whether it's on a Strat, whether it's on a Telecaster. Pretty is pretty. You know, if I played some of this stuff, some of these chords with an amp, with a flanger or a chorus or something like that, those are still going to be beautiful. So just something to think about. So remember, when something says D7, you don't always have to alter it. Maybe don't alter it. See how many beautiful things you can come up just using the dominant 7 diminished scale. Anyway, I thought I'd make a small one today, or a little short one today. Until next time, have fun not altering your dominant chords. Thanks.